Welcome to the final class of the course Microeconomics, and this is the 10th module. It talks about the applied microeconomics and review of what we've done from the beginning of the course. And this module explores the practical application of microeconomics theories in real-world setting, from sophisticated pricing strategy to the psychological factors influencing economic choices. And we'll also delve into the unique dynamics of sectors like agriculture, health, and education. And just like I said, with the conclusion with the review of the core microeconomics concept. The first thing we will look into is having an understanding of the economic decision making. When we talk about the economic decision making, it is complex, with firms using sophisticated pricing strategy to optimize the revenue. However, not all decisions are perfectly logical. Behavioral economics reviews how psychological factors, biases, and social influences lead to suboptimal choices. And microeconomics is also crucial for understanding specific sectors like the healthcare and education, which face unique constraints such as information asymmetry, the externalities, and government interventions. We look into price strategies, very, very important when we talk about microeconomics in the present world, the real world. And pricing strategies refers to the various approaches firms use to set the prices of their goods and services in order to achieve specific business objectives. And these objectives can range from maximizing profits, increasing market shares, to discouraging competition or covering production costs. These strategies are influenced by market structures, the demand elasticity, the costs, and the competitive environment. And it actually includes the cost-based pricing, the value-based pricing, penetration pricing, price scheming, the psychological pricing, competitive pricing, discriminative pricing, and the bundle pricing, the dynamic pricing, and the predatory pricing. Taking it one after the other, the cost-based pricing is adding a markup to production cost. An example is having a 1,000 naira cost and adding a 20% margin to it, which makes it 1,200 naira as a price. And for the value-based pricing, this is setting price based on perceived customer value. An example is luxury handbag priced at 150,000 due to brand prestige. And for penetration pricing, this involves setting a low initial price to quickly gain market share, then gradually increasing it. And for the price scheming, this involves setting a higher initial price for new products, gradually lowered over time. And this is example of smartphone phone. Some when they come out, their prices are high, and as such, they begin to lower it as time goes on. For the psychological pricing, this is using tactics like when you have to buy something 1,000 naira and they write 999 to appear cheaper, or prestige pricing. So this is a psychological pricing. We also have the competitive pricing, which means setting prices based on what competitors charge, which is common in the oligopolistic markets. They have the discriminative pricing, which is charging different prices for the same product based on willingness to pay. And this is in terms of student discounts, the airline tickets, and more. We have the bundle pricing. This is selling a group of products together at a combined, often lower price. And this is as an example of combo meal. Another is the dynamic pricing. For the dynamic pricing, this is changing prices in real time based on demands, time, or customer behavior. And example of this is ride sharing app, the airline tickets, and lastly, we have the predatory pricing, and this means setting extremely low prices to drive competitors out and then raising them. And it's legal if anti-competitive. Uh, and effective pricing requires understanding consumers' behavior, cost structures, and market conditions to communicate value and um, secure a competitive edge. We have the behavioral economics as one of the very important things to note also in terms of applied concepts of microeconomics. And when we talk about behavioral economics, it's a field of study that blends insights from psychology with traditional economics theory to better understand how individuals actually makes economic decision. And it's challenged the classical assumption of rational agents, recognizing that cognitive biases, emotion, habit, and social influences often lead to irrational choices. Key concepts under this behavioral economics include the bounded rationality. We have the heuristic and biases. We have the prospect theory, and we have the framing effect. For the bounded rationality, this refers to the idea that people have limited cognitive resources, leading to good enough decision rather than optimal ones. For the prospect theory, it shows that people value losses more painfully than equivalent gains, influencing risk taking based on framing. For heuristic and biases, this emphasizes that mental shortcuts, that is, heuristics, can lead to um, systematic error, which is biases like anchoring or loss aversion. And lastly, the framing effect. This shows that how information is presented can drastically alter decision. That is 90% survival rate versus 10% death rate. For the behavioral economics in practice, we know that it's understood that behavioral economics has practical application in marketing, the public policy and finance, which influence consumer choices and policy designs. And under marketing, companies uses insights to influence choices through pricing, packaging, and advertising. For the public policy, government uses nudge theory to guide people towards better choices without restricting freedom. And this is an example of the example includes the auto enrollment in pension scheme. And lastly, the finance, which is it examines how emotion and psychological factors affect investors' decision, explaining phenomena like stock market bubbles. For the market in agriculture, health, and education, this sector have unique characteristics like public goods, externalities, and information asymmetries, and heavy government involvement, requiring specific economic analysis. For agricultural markets, this is seasonal, weather dependent, and prone to price volatility due to inelastic supply and demand. And it often involves government intervention like subsidies to ensure food security. And for the healthcare market, it's both the healthcare is both a necessity and a merit good, which is society benefits when everyone has access, regardless of their ability to pay. However, the market is complex due to several distortions like information asymmetry, patients lack knowledge, moral hazard where insured overuse care, and adverse selection, meaning the high risk individual buy more insurance. And for the education market, this is both an investment and a public good, generating positive externalities, and it faces market failures like imperfect information and barrier to entry, justifying government funding and regulation. As a review of what we have been talking about, the key concept that we've been talking about in um, microeconomics, we talk about microeconomics as one that provides a structured framework for understanding decision making under scarcity, from foundational principle to real world application. We've looked into the foundational principle in terms of scarcity, the opportunity cost, the marginal reasoning, demand, supply, and elasticity. We come to the consumer and producer, where we talk about the utility maximization, budget constraints or lines or budget lines, production function, and cost structure. We also look into the market structure, where we look at the perfect competition, the monopolistic competition, the monopoly, and the oligopoly, and their strategic behaviors. We also looked into the factor markets, where we looked into the determination of wage, the rent, interest, and profits, including market imperfections. We looked into the market failures and government roles. And with this, we were able to look into public goods, the externalities, the information asymmetry, and policy instruments like taxes, subsidies, price controls. And lastly, we look into the real world application of microeconomics, and we got insights from agriculture, health, education, behavioral economics, and pricing strategies. In conclusion, uh, microeconomics is a vital tool for analyzing decision making under scarcity. And this module has covered theoretical foundation. This course has covered the theoretical foundation, um, the practical application, and sector specific challenges, integrating traditional model with real world complexity. By understanding the market dynamics, market failure, and psychological influences, you are able to get equipped to critically assess economic um, interactions and contribute to inform effective economic solution, which brings about a balance in efficiency and equity in policy and business strategy. Thank you for joining us through the course from module 1 to 10. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.